Hi guys, Nomis here, and welcome to episode 2 of this Cities Skylines series, where we're building the city of Nomishavn. Last time we built this really large train station, and there are quite a bit of trains arriving and departing from most of the platforms already. Really satisfying to look at. Now we need to start building the city around it to actually take use of all of these trains, all of those trains. I don't know if the game will actually take advantage of the trains coming in from all the different outside connections and actually spreading them out evenly and not overcrowding some line, but I guess we will find that out later on. Today I will be building out a new area, kind of a dense little neighborhood that will have residential and most of the daily needs within walking distance, like fire, police, medical, schools, some small shops maybe, and some recreational activities. The majority of the area will actually be pedestrianized and will be centered around a little plaza and an underground metro station. Also, there will be a few tram stops going through the area. Before we start on that, I want to just build out a little area for the tram depot, using the depot from the LRT collection in the workshop, just so we have the option to start running trams in the city. Right between the arterial road and the tracks going into the station, this gap that I think is just a perfect spot for the tram depot. Alright, so what I want to start off with is just building out the tram depot, and I've chosen this area here because it's kind of an awkward space right between the arterial road and this big rail infrastructure, so it really fits the theme in this area. First off, I just want to clear out all of those trees so we don't have any poking through. And I'll just be using a simple industrial road for the tram depot to sit on. So what I want to do is have it nice and tight up against this retaining wall here. So I'll be using the create parallel mode just to make it easier for myself. Then we just want to find the depot that we'll be using. This is the LRT tram depot, which is from the same pack as all the tram networks that I'll be using, so it fits the style of the whole network. So I'll just plop that down here. Then I want to be using some of the fenceless tracks here, just to get us out into all of the networks. I like to take off road banding when I'm connecting in like this, so it's nice and straight. I want to take this into a different node. Then we'll just square it off both of these so it's a bit smoother. And what I want to do on the side here is just lay down a few extra tracks just for decoration. So this will be like a spot for trams to just be parked, maybe while they're waiting to go through maintenance, or just overnight parking. It's something I've seen in real life, and I just want to replicate that. So I think we'll have like 4 tracks, and then we're gonna try to have them merge in here. Maybe this one will go here. Alright, so I kind of had to redo some of this. I just removed the connection that I had here and then just made them all merge into this one. So now we just have the 2 connections coming in, so we don't have tracks going all over the place. It looks a bit messy in these connections here, but it kind of the imperfection kind of makes it look realistic, I think. And then over here, I just want to have some industrial assets. There's some brick buildings. Vanya Industrial Revolution is actually kind of perfect for the vibe we're going for here. I think that I want just a few of the smaller buildings without the smokestacks. And I think that is actually plenty, just a few extra buildings that kind of fits the style of the depot. And then, of course, we need to connect in the road so that vehicles can actually access the depot. We'll try to get it nice and tight up, and then just straight into the road. And then we'll just leave it like this for now, and then we can come and detail it up later on. Add some vehicles and some props around here. And then before we start building the residential, I just want to make sure that the city will function. So I'm gonna add some trash processing over here. This will be like a sort of a industrial area just for trash and some cargo. So we're just gonna put down the large recycling center, and then we want to put down a distribution center. I won't detail this up for now. I'm just gonna plop it down just to have it sort of function, and then we'll probably do this area in a different video where we can focus on that. Okay, so now that we have these ones in, then we can move over to the area where we will be doing the main build today. So I don't want to start building straight off from the station, because I kind of want more like commercial and office close by to this one. So we're gonna move a bit over here, and then in the area around here we're gonna make like a little neighborhood which will be centered around a plaza and a metro station, some trams like we mentioned earlier. So I'm just gonna be building out some road frames after moving some trees here. So with all the trees moved, I just want to be building with my contour lines on, just so I can kind of stay away from the terrain for now and just like swoop it around. First I just want to come straight out from here. Then we do some freeform and then just curve it around here. And then we have this area we can build in, and we can have the trams coming through. I'm just gonna be building some frames for the area. So I'll be using just some 2-lane roads, which will be the holding frame for the whole area. 43 units across there. I think that's nice and easy space. As I said earlier, the idea is that we're gonna have like a neighborhood with a plaza, some schools, fire, medical, small shops and all of that. So that's what we're gonna do now. So first we're gonna start with building the frames for the actual plaza. When I did this testing earlier, found that like about 28 units across works well. And then we have 16 units here. And I think we can actually move the whole frame just a bit closer. Then we want to connect this up. And down here I want to just make a space for the service point so that we can have this whole place function. So within this square here I want to build only pedestrian area, so it's like a closed off pedestrianized neighborhood. So for now we're just gonna put in the small pedestrian area service point, and I think that's gonna be fine because it's gonna be mostly residential and it's not the biggest area. If it's not enough, then we'll have to take a look at it later on. And then we just want to paint out the whole area. Right, so now we can start with what will be the centerpiece, which is the plaza. So in the middle here I want to have like a statue that would be kind of like a memorial, which is, we can imagine that's like a person that the square is named after. So I wasn't really playing along at first, so I just had to delete some nodes, and then I could find the center of the plaza where we'll be having the memorial. So what I want in the middle here is kind of gonna be like a statue memorial in like a man-made pond. So we're gonna use some props that I downloaded for a workshop, which is like a water surface, because it's kind of too small to have like real water. So we're just gonna place this here, and then we'll move it a little bit up. Then we use some retaining walls so that we can see the framing that we're working on. So if it place more of these together, then they kind of don't blend well together, so it's better to have one big one and then we can close it off. So I'll use this old stone retaining wall just to mark off the edges of this, and then I can just move it to fit it in. Alright, so now that we have this, we're gonna place the foundation for the statue. We're gonna use these marble pedestals. We're gonna try to get it approximately in the middle here, and then we're gonna just move it prop control just to resize it and make it a lot bigger. And then we're gonna place our statue. So when I'm placing him down, I just want to make sure that he's actually facing like towards the road there, which is gonna be like the front of the plaza. Okay, I just skipped ahead a little bit, sorry about that. I had some issues with resizing the marble pedestal. So now we just want to lower it a bit. And then I think we're actually gonna lower the walls slightly as well. Okay, so now I just adjusted all the props and the walls a bit, so you see the water surface is nice and tight up, and it's not too deep because we don't want that. And now we can actually go ahead and remove these sections in the middle here. Now that we have this, I just want to add some stairs going around, just for that final touch for this centerpiece. So I'm just using these stone stair props, and then I'm gonna be sinking them down and putting them around the little man-made pond. And then I'll just repeat this around the whole thing. Okay, so now we have the basis for this. We'll add some details later on, just add some planters around here, some water jets I think, and then we'll add some spotlights as well. But now we're gonna see what we're gonna do around the rest of this plaza. So I want to have the metro station right in front here, and then the most important buildings will be sitting on the sides here. So what we first want to do is add the police and fire station on the side here. We have this nice corner asset, and then we'll add a fire station as well next to it. And on the other side we have this nice looking medical clinic, which fits perfect with kind of the more old style of the buildings here that we will have here. Then I want to make a little area here for the schools. I want to have high school and elementary right next to each other. So we'll make a little frame for this here. So we're gonna use this as the elementary school. Then right next to it we'll have this big looking high school. And we just need a little bit more space for this. Okay, so I just moved them a bit and we need to redraw the roads. I'll just make a bit more space for a block of more buildings so that they merge well together. And now we can have like a backyard that the two schools share. So it's almost like a campus of their own. And maybe we'll add some sports facilities on the side here, like a football field. I think would fit well. That can be shared by both the schools and also by the neighborhood. Just need a little bit more space there. A little bit of tennis and basket wouldn't be the worst thing to have here. Just plop those down. So maybe during recess the school kids will go play here and maybe the neighborhood kids will play after school as well. So it's just a great asset for the neighborhood. And another building that I want to put down is actually this nice looking library, but I'm realizing I don't really have the space that I want for it, because I want it on the side of the plaza as well. So we're just gonna rethink the road framing here. Okay, so now we have a little bit more space, so we can plop this down here, and now we have all of the most important buildings for the area around here. And then over here we want to place down the metro entrances, so we have easy access right into the plaza and people can walk around neighborhood. So for this time I want to use these nice ones with the glass roof, and I think we're gonna have one on each side actually. Then of course we want the station. With this one, just a nice 2-track thing with the platform in the middle is actually just perfect. And then we need to of course connect them up with some parts underground. When I was testing the build, I didn't have anyone using the metro until I realized I didn't connect the underground tracks to the station here, so we won't be doing that again. Okay, so then we can just simply, like this, just connect them up. And then we go underground. Just have a simple 2 platforms with access in the middle to both lines, both directions, which is perfect. Then before we forget, we can actually just go ahead and connect it up to one of the lines. So because we have 4 tracks here, we don't have an actual quad track. So a trick we want to do is actually have 2 tracks side by side. Then we want to move them pretty close to the end here. Then we want to connect both of them into the station. Of course now if we want to see on the ground it looks pretty bad, so we need to do some tricks with the node controller to fix this. first off we need to go underground, then just square them off. Then what we want to do is just use the shift here. We want to shift them over until it's pretty much straight on. Then we want to copy it on the other side, the same measurement, so it's minus on one side and then plus on the other side. Still pretty rough, it's kind of a short switch, so you want to remove some nodes and then just stretch it out. See here, you just want to, not that much, maybe about 40 is good. So now we have a little bit more smoothness on the switchback. It's a bit curvy, but I think it's looks fine enough, and just ignore the tearing here. It's kind of hard to make these underground networks look perfect. Then we can just simply get it over here to our new station. And that should see us connected. I am just gonna go ahead and add the line here before I forget, just so we have that set up when some citizens actually are starting to move in. Then I want to make it the Copenhagen metro. This is a automatic metro from Copenhagen, which I think is the best choice. I want to have some kind of a modern metro system like that, even though the infrastructure underground is kind of dated looking. And now of course we can go over to some of the more important parts of the build, which is building some residential for this area. Just plopping down some custom buildings like these ones. Really fit the style of the school, so I'm gonna merge them together. I will just continue this for a bit along the side here. We're having a little bit of some repeated patterns of the building, but we're not gonna use only these. We're also gonna use plenty of like wooden buildings, which is kind of on style with the Scandinavian team. Especially this district will have an abundance of wooden buildings. So when I'm building blocks like this, I like to just leave a little bit of room in the middle, so I can have some backyards to just detail up. Maybe it's kind of like a shared space for the people living there, just to chill out, grow some plants, park a bike or whatever. And now before we continue, I just want to quickly drag out some more pedestrian road, and then of course we want to connect it up with the roads down here, so the serious vehicles can enter from this road as well, so they don't have to go all the way around. Okay, so now that we have some more roads going around, we're gonna have a look at some of the other buildings that we'll be using. I also have some of these wooden apartment buildings. I'll just gonna be placing them down, and then what we will be doing with them is just like moving around with move it and just merging them together with nice and tight blocks. Okay, so now that we have kind of like a block designed, then we can maybe just copy it to some other areas. We can leave some open space there maybe. And the last building style we're gonna use is just some Baroque buildings. So just to fill this area out now, we're just gonna kind of go around and use the same building styles, just some baroque and some wooden buildings, and just fill out this whole area, and then we can have a look at how it's looking after that. Right, so now I just went ahead and plopped down a lot of residential around the streets and made some more like street designs, and I tried not to make it too gritty, kind of break it up a bit and kind of have a variety of building types and also block sizes, so they're not all the same size, some long ones and just some small squares as well, just to have some variety. I think it's starting to look pretty nice. Of course it's lacking a lot of detail, but we're gonna come to that, of course. And I did notice that there was one service that we didn't leave room for just yet, which is that care. So we're gonna remedy that by just first making just like a cemetery design. I want to plop down this stave church, which is really on theme for these are like old churches we'll see around Norway, which is makes it perfect for style. And then behind it we're gonna have these realistic cemeteries, which is really bare bones, so you can detail around them, and we will just be kind of copying them around. So I think we'll just actually take the same road and just run it alongside here so that they're all connected. Then we'll add some fencing around and some detailing inside here with some pots and some trees and all of that. So now that we have all of this in, I think that calls for just a lot of detailing, and of course these are screaming for service point, but that's just because we've been playing on pause this whole time. I want to actually just get everything set up before we hit play, so that then we can see everyone moving in when everything is, so we don't kind of forget something and they're complaining about it when they're moving in. So we're just gonna do some detailing then, and then I'll see you later. So before we go have a look at the new area that we built, I just want to quickly head over to the train station that we built in the previous episode, because now we should be seeing a lot of new citizens finally be using the trains that we put in earlier. I did actually just break the highway connections into the city because I don't want to be dealing with car traffic just yet, and I really want to just see everyone using the trains. So just give it a minute or two and then we'll see that. Okay, wow, I think we have some people coming in. Where's that from? Over here. Okay, wow. First citizens of Nomishavn. Hello everyone, welcome to Nomishavn. Hope you enjoy your stay. And we'll see how are they choosing to get to a new flat. So we have some people, a lot of people going down to the metro station. You may have seen I put this extra metro entrance in on the outside of the station. I thought it would make sense just if some people want to use this metro stop and they're not using train station, and it would make sense to have an extra entrance outside. So I did also put in some tram lines in the detailing time lapse, and I just went ahead and made some tram stop like designs that I can be reusing throughout the city. The model here is actually the same model that they use for the modern trams in Bergen in Norway, which is one of the bigger inspirations from this district. You see Bybanen, which is the name of the tram that's going through the central parts of the city. Got a few people coming in for a metro station. Really nice to see. So we can start off with the main square, which is like the centerpiece of the build. Did put in some benches, some planters around just to fill out that empty space between the stairs. Then I added some water jets just around, and then if you see at night, I added some colored spotlights, which merely makes it stand out at night. Then we can have a look at the rest. I did add this cobblestone, really colorful, just to differentiate the plaza, and some extra decorations around, some food trucks, some markets and all of that. And I leave plenty of open space. Just I imagine these places have the space for some events, maybe concerts and stuff like that. So it's nice to have that open, walkable space. And I did add some murals around where you have the open blank walls, like here for example. Then I added a bunch of details like advertisements, planters around. And then if you can find it, we added some commercials around, just to merge them into the buildings. Like we have this commercial box and just trying to make it look like there's some pubs here with some outdoor seating. And we have some more eateries and some grocery stores with more outdoor seatings, just trying to make these little nice neighborhood areas just so people can walk to some small shopping and cafes and pubs and all of that. And then we have a little small area here as well, just dotted around like this. The whole area is just paved with cobblestones. Most of this I did with IMT, as you could have seen, and then I had to put down a few more decals manually just to fill in the gaps that didn't quite play so well with IMT. And then in all the backyards I tried to make a bunch of details, like bicycle stands, planters, some small chairs, some grills, some people tanning maybe. And then on some of the buildings I tried to make this kind of entrance into the backyard with this arch and the gate. So I just used procedure object on these ones and just moved like the first floor, and then used the gap to make like an entrance. Then this throughout where you have like the bigger blocks with the backyards, just for that extra detail. I'm just trying to make it like a nice communal space for the people living in the same blocks. So I think it's starting to look pretty decent. Really cool to just see the people wandering the nice quiet streets. We have the library, the football field, the schools. And then I did add some like crowd generators on either side of this like fountain with the statue, just to make it like an interesting place. People, maybe tourists and citizens go here to take like a selfie with the statue. Maybe it's like a meeting place for people living here. Of course, I detailed up this church and graveyard, just added some more props, so maybe more some mausoleums, maybe some important historical figures are buried here, just some garden paths, trees, just to make it look like a nice place to just walk around and discover, I don't know, dead people. Then if we move over here to the tram depot, I did add like oil industry fans and some overgrowth just dotted around and some more stains, kind of just the same methods that we used in the between the tracks going into the station. Then I did add a bunch of just parked trams from the same model that we're using for the lines. And then just a few industrial props, like some containers, recycling containers, and just some random industrial props, really. Some delivery trucks. Then just making a separation with some trees, because it might not be the nicest thing to look at if you're walking past here. And we also started a bit of a cycle network, just this meandering bike path, which people are already using actually, which is really nice to see. I think this guy here is actually using one of the rented bikes, it looks like. Yeah, really cool to see. So I want to really make space for these bike networks, and kind of don't encourage driving everywhere, like walking, public transport, biking, just to get around. And of course the people who really want to drive will be able to do it, but it's not going to be like the most efficient way. And if we go underground, we just did some simple detailing here with some advertisements and name of the metro station. I want to name the metro station after like the square, which I imagine will be named after some historical important person that is kind of who the statue is modeled after. I really don't have the name, so I just have a placeholder name, important person place, so I'll figure out what to call it later, and I think the whole neighborhood will kind of be named after that. So we use the pedestrian area to kind of name the neighborhood, and then we can change that when I figure out who the person is. Yeah, that's pretty much it for today. I'll do some short mechanics, and I hope you enjoy the build, and hopefully you'll come back for more in the next video.